in the U.S. that ISIS sympathizers in America are trying to join the terror group on the battlefield in Syria and Iraq. The latest example happened this week when 3 American teenage girls were allegedly trying to fly to the Middle East to fight with the terrorists. What can be done to stop this from happening? Joining us to discuss is retired NYPD Detective Harry Houck and former FBI officer Jonathan Gilliam. Thank you for joining.
Good to be here. Thanks.
Is this something that we're going to see consistently happening over and over again?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that that's going to be the case. I think what is very telling about all these things that we've seen happen recently is, first and foremost, these are repeated tactics. These are things that have been tried overseas, and now they're being tried here. And quite effectively, the attack yesterday where they ran over the 2 soldiers, or on Monday where they ran over the soldiers, that was done in England not that long ago. And I think the beheadings, things like happened in Oklahoma, that is something that happens all the time over in the Middle East. And these females trying to go over, like from Colorado, trying to go over and join ISIS, that is something that, you know, we've been having that problem. It's just that it has been kind of covert in nature because people go visit families and then they make their way over there. I think now that we've just discovered that females are actually being recruited or voluntarily going over there is something that's just coming to light, but it's been a problem.
But you know what's interesting to me? These are young teenagers. These are young girls who are on Instagram and on Facebook, and and there are videos coming out where there's interviews with young girls that have gone down over there and they regret going there, and they're seeing the stonings happening and they're seeing the beheadings happening, and they actually want to come back home. So how is it that these young girls are still being lured?
It's really amazing to me because apparently I guess they're going on the internet and that's how they're getting lured in. You usually don't see this happening to women and young girls, but now recently we started to see this make a change here, and they're actually trying to get women to come overseas and fight with them. So I think that the self-radicalization here in the United States is going to start to become a big problem. And I think that we've got to understand that ISIS is a bigger problem than we even think they are.
Do you think that they're targeting women more than men? Are we missing? Are they going under the radar? Are we not catching the women more than men? Is there any sort of comparison that you can make?
I'm sure somebody's keeping track of that, but right now we're looking at just women, although a couple, I think a month or so ago, there was a man who was self-radicalized and tried to make his way over there, and he was caught. So I think they're probably reaching out to both, and I think they're trying to reach out to younger children because they're more easier to manipulate, all right, and get them to go overseas.
And I want to get your FBI perspective on this. I think, you know, how are they zeroing in on these? How are we as Americans trying to really have a better handle on the situation?
Well, so not just in the FBI, but I was a SEAL as well, and in both of these, and even in law enforcement, we're taught that you know, you always look at the hands for the threat. Now, what does it have to do with this? If you're going in and you're doing multiple exercises for hostage rescue, you're not just looking you're always looking at the hands. You're not so much paying attention to the sex of the person, the size of the person. And the United States has become very, very, like the rest of the world, very numb into the fact that they don't look at females, they don't look at kids as threats. Females and kids are threats just the same as an adult male.
And maybe even more.
Maybe, well, technically, yeah, they could be more of a threat because they can go under the radar.
The radar. And, you know, a lot of what we can compare this to is almost like, you know, young children who are vulnerable and they're preyed upon by gangs,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Now, one of the interesting aspects of this is how these girls will now be dealt with as a result. So, it becomes a symbol or some sort of example for other young people to look at, right? So that however they're punished. B, how are we going to prevent them from doing this again? Is there some sort? I mean, they're being handed right back to their parents.
Right.
They're underage. You said that. So how are we dealing with them?
Well, we definitely need to treat them as juveniles because they're under age 18. All right. And if we can prove the fact that they were on their way to join ISIS, all right, something's got to be done with them. They've got to be charged as juveniles. All right, I'm not talking put them in jail for 20 years. All right, but we need to make an example of this so other children who are thinking about doing something like this aren't going to try it. Okay, and maybe we ought to put out a message out there, you know, more of a message out there to people that, you know, ISIS really isn't a bunch of nice guys. We know what they do to women. All right, and why are women, you know, like you said before, seeing what's going on, the beheadings, you know, women being treated like dirt in these countries, why do they want to go over there?
How should they be dealt with?
So I agree with you on most of that, but where I disagree with you is that I don't think they should be charged as juveniles. I think they should be charged as adults. These girls were caught in Germany, I believe,
Yes.
and brought back. So, you know, here's the other problem. It's not just the kids. Okay, these kids, we bring these 3 females back. We charge them adults. We charge them as juveniles. It does nothing to fix the system. Even though we're setting a precedence, it does nothing to fix the system so that it doesn't happen again. So what should we do? Obviously, those girls were inspired somewhere, probably either the internet or the mosque, right, where they're at. That mosque should instantly become a hotbed of investigations, and it should be looked at.
How do we do that without appearing Islamophobic, without appearing as though we're targeting the Muslim community?
Well, basically what you got to do is you got to take a look at where these girls went on the internet, or, you know, like you said, which mosque was involved in it. I mean, I don't care how we look. All right, we're going to conduct the investigation, all right, and we're going to go where the evidence takes us. If it takes us to a Muslim group, I'm sorry, but that's where it took us, all right? I don't care if we look racist or, you know, we look like we're not politically correct. We're going to follow the evidence. And once we follow the evidence, we find out exactly how these girls, all right, became self-radicalized, then we'll just follow that road.
And John, really quickly, my last question is, in terms of internet censorship, I mean, these young girls are in their parents' home and doing this, and the parents didn't even know, or maybe they did know. What's your advice to parents who want to monitor their children?
Well, first and foremost, if somebody is an Islamic parent, right, they need to realize that this stuff is going on and it's out there. And it doesn't matter what religion you're in, you're going to be inspired at certain times. A new Christian is very inspired. They read the Bible, they're more likely to go out and witness to people. If you're a parent who's a Muslim and you have a kid who is new or inspired in the faith, you do need to monitor them. You need to monitor them because not because necessarily your mosque is bad, but because there are people that have infiltrated mosques and they are looking to recruit. That's serious, and they need to take it seriously.
Right, and regardless of what religion you are, because they're preying upon non-Muslims as well. These influences do exist out there.
It's no different if you lived in the inner city and you know there's gangs everywhere. You need to police your children.
Right. Thank you so much to you both.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.